Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made these crochet jellyfish keychains. They're so pretty, so perfect for the summer season. I got the inspiration to make these off of a really adorable Instagram post. I'll put that up on the screen so you can see the inspiration for this. And then from there, I essentially made the pattern up based off of that photo. And this is what I came up with. I absolutely love these so much. They're so pretty. I think I already said that. And I've made a bunch of different colors, as you can see. But yeah, they really work with any colors you choose. And they're really easy to make, surprisingly. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to make in today's video. So let's get right on into it. So you'll be needing two different colors for this. So I'm going to be using this Loops and Threads like teal color. It is 100% acrylic yarn. Doesn't really matter what kind of yarn you use for this. And then I'm using this white for the second color because, as you can see, I kind of use a base color and then a white detail color. So you need two different colors. And then I use a 4mm hook for the entire project. I do occasionally use a sewing needle just to sew some parts together. And I use scissors as well to cut the yarn if needed. Now, me personally, I put a keyring on this. However, you do not need to do that. You could leave it without. So you also need some key rings. I bought some 1-inch key rings off of Amazon. They were really cheap. It was about $5 for a 100 pack of these little metal key rings. That is all you'll need for this project. So now we can get into making it. So we're going to start with the base color, which is the color that's not white, or the color that you're going to use for this main part. So to start, I'm going to start with a magic ring, and I'm going to be making 12 double crochets into this magic ring. So I chain 2, and then I double crochet 12 into the magic ring. All right, so I have 12 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and pull my magic ring nice and tight. And then into the first stitch I see, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch that closed. So here is our magic ring pulled together. For the next round, I'm going to chain 2 to start. And now I'm going to increase into each of these stitches. Put a double crochet increase in each of the stitch. So 2 double crochets into each one of those stitches. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around until I get back to the chain 2 where we started. All right, so I'm back where I started, and now I'm gonna slip stitch into the chain 2 where we started, just like that. Now we have 2 rows done. I'm gonna make 1 more row with this blue color, so 1 more chain 2, and this time around we're just gonna make 1 double crochet into each of the stitches. Go all the way around until you reach that chain 2 again. go ahead, slip stitch into that last stitch. I'm going to chain 1. You don't really need to leave any tail for sewing, so just go ahead, cut kind of where you want, and pull through. This is the top of our little octopus, and now you're going to grab your white, because we're going to do the next part, which is building off and making this cool little kind of scaly part that, shown in this white color. So grab your next color. I'm going to grab my white, and I'll show you how to do this. All right, so with the white, we're going to put our hook into this stitch where we just ended and pull up the white. I like to chain 1. And now you're going to make 2 more single crochets into the next 2 stitches. So 1 in that stitch, 1 in the next. And I also go over these 2 ends of yarn just so they will hold better and I don't have to sew them in later. And now I'm going to yarn over on my hook twice with the white yarn. And then I'm going to go up one of the double crochets, pop my hook through the second row of double crochets, pull yarn up, and then kind of act as if this is a triple crochet right here. Keep going until I have just 1 more loop on my hook. I'm going to do that again for you guys to see. So make 3 single crochets now, just on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. And now yarn over again twice like you're going to do a double or treble crochet. You're going to go kind of lower than this, first double crochet here, and into kind of like the middle point of where row 2 and row 3 is. And then pull up a loop and continue acting like that's a treble crochet. That's the best way I can explain it, but then I just keep doing that all the way around. I'll keep going. 3 more single crochets. 3, triple crochet. Kind of just place it where you think it'll look good. And then pull through. Another 3 single crochet. Again, treble crochet. Pop it in between 2 rows. And 3 more crochet. Treble crochet. And just keep doing that same pattern all the way until you get back where you started. One, 2, 3. I'm going to do 1 more treble crochet. And now I'm going to slip stitch back into this first single crochet I made. And that is that kind of like double crochet thing. I don't exactly know what to call that row. And now 1 more row of just single crochets with the white yarn going around. So I'm going to chain 1 and then make 1 single crochet into every stitch around until we get back to that first chain 1 we just made. So just single crochets around. And once you get back to the beginning, slip stitch, chain 1, and I'm going to go ahead, cut my yarn. You don't need to leave that long of an end for sewing. And then just pull through. And here is what we are left with. Now we have 1 more part for this top, which is these little kind of like scallop like kind of bumps going around. So you're gonna grab your first color you used once again, and we're gonna make those little scallop parts. So again, I'm just gonna start where I ended. This time only going into the upper loop of the single crochet, pulling up my yarn, and all around we're going to be going into the top part, not for the full loop, just the top part of the single crochet. So we're going to start with 3 single crochets in the front loop only, or the top loop only. So 1, 2, 3. And then to make the little scallop part, I like to do 3 double crochets into 1 space. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then continue with another 3 single crochets. Still going only through the top part of that single crochet. 1, 2, 3. And then to make the scallop part again, 3 double crochets into that 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3. And continue. So 3 single crochets, and then to make the scallop, 3 double crochets into 1 stitch. And just go all the way around doing that. And to finish off, I don't have an exact amount of stitches over here, but I feel like it's going to be kind of looking a little weird if I don't put 1 more scallop. So I'm just going to add 1 more right here. And then I'm going to go to the next stitch, slip stitch, chain 1, and cut my yarn. You don't need to leave a long tail for sewing. And this is the top part. Now I'm going to show you how to make the bottom just using white. So for the bottom, you're going to take your white yarn, and we're going to start with a magic ring, chaining 2, and then in that magic ring making 12 double crochets. Pull your magic ring tight, slip stitch into the first double crochet you made, chain 2, and then to finish this off, just make 1 round with 2 double crochets into each stitch for like an increase round. And then this will be the part that we sew to the bottom so that, this doesn't show and it'll be covered up by the white piece. So make 2 double crochets into every stitch around. slip stitch to the first double crochet, chain 1, and this time you do want to leave a little bit of a tail so we can sew this part onto the top of the jellyfish, just like that. Don't sew it on just yet because now we're going to make the tentacles, and we attach the tentacles to this piece before we sew it on to the top. So for the tentacles, I made 3 of the bigger ones, and then the smaller ones I made 2. So we're going to use the white yarn to start with the tentacle. So I like to chain 12. You can chain more or less depending on what you want. So I start with just a slip knot around my hook, and then I'm going to chain 12. Just like this. I'm going to chain an extra 2 for the turning, and then make double crochets into each chain going down. So I make 2 double crochets in each chain going down. So 1, back in, 2. And I do that all the way. So as I put 2 double crochets in every stitch, the tentacle becomes curly, and that's the effect that I was going for. When you're done, chain 1, and you don't need to leave that long of a tail. And now you're done with the white part for the tentacle. So to make this kind of like stripe with the blue, all I did was I took the tentacle, I went into this chain right here with my blue yarn, I pulled up a loop, and I'm going to go ahead and crochet over these 2 tails so I don't have to sew them in later. Chain 1 and make single crochets into each one of these stitches, and I just do the single crochet over the tails as I go. And then I cut the excess off. I'm going to cut that excess off after I'm done with the blue part though. Once you're all the way done, I just chain 1, cut my yarn. This little piece you do have to sew in because there's nothing to do with it, so I just take my sewing needle and I just kind of go through the back of those stitches. You don't need to do very much. Pull it through, and then I just cut that extra yarn, and I'm going to cut these pieces that I was crocheting over as well because I don't want those sticking out. And then these, oops. These 2 pieces at the top I use to tie on to the part I'll show you later, so leave these out. but this is what your tentacle should look like. I made 3 of them in total, so you can go ahead and rewind to make 2 more. To make the thinner tentacle, I just take the blue yarn. And I'm going to make a chain of 12. So start with a slip knot around your hook. Chain 12. And now you're just going to slip stitch into each one of those chains all the way down. A chain 1 to finish off. I went ahead and made 2 of these for the jellyfish. Once you have all of your tentacles done, I'm going to show you now how to put them onto this piece. So I take my hook, and we don't want them on the like nicer part, what I think. I don't like to put the tentacles going out of like the bottom part, because there's kind of like a bottom part. Whatever this little tail is hanging out of, I consider the bottom. So we want the tentacles hanging from the better part, if that makes sense. So I'm going to flip this over, put my needle in where I think I want the tentacle to go. I pull one part of it through, go in again, random place, pull the other part through, and then I'm just going to tie a knot right here. And this, now the tentacle is attached. So I'm going to repeat that for all the other pieces. I just kind of place the 3 bigger tentacles, 1, 2, 3, so it kind of makes a triangle, and then I place the other 2 like thinner, kind of just, you know, wherever I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back when I have all of them tied to the middle piece. Okay, I have all my parts sewn on. It looks pretty crazy right now, but just kind of do your best to ignore that. So find the longest piece. This is going to be the piece I'm going to be sewing with, so you're going to sew that with it too, with your project. I just kind of put these all on top of this in the middle, flip it over, put them in the middle. I hold this down, put all the ends, you know, into the middle. Should we just sew them in? So I'm going to go ahead, take my sewing needle, and then put the yarn through. And essentially all I'm doing is going through 1 stitch on the first side and 1 stitch on the other side, and then pulling my yarn through. And then I'm just repeating that over and over and over again until I get all the way, you know, around. Some people like to stuff their jellyfish as they go. I, however, did not do that. I just kind of liked the looser look of it without it being like stuffed to the brim. So that's up to you. Stuff as you go if you want. I did not. Now, I was done going all the way around, so I still have this little piece of yarn sticking out. So I just kind of poke my hook through a few times to make sure that yarn isn't going to like get undone, if that makes sense. Still have some poking out, so I just grab my hook and I'm just going to bring it in to the jellyfish, and it should be pretty secure after that. This is what it's going to look like. You can leave it as this, or you can make the keychain. I'm going to show you how I made little keychain part. So essentially all I did was took the body color. I grabbed my hook. I just kind of go through one of the double crochets at the top and pull up the yarn, and I chain about 10. maybe 8. I chained 8. And then I'm gonna cut the yarn. And then with the little ring, I just made a single crochet onto the ring, pulled my yarn through a knot with the yarn. And now with this end, I'm just gonna weave back and forth through the chains. Just for like extra security, I guess. And I bring it back into the jellyfish. I'm just gonna go through a few times, make sure my yarn's very secure. Don't want this coming undone. You can cut it. And then this little part, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just weave this through a few times. And if I have any extra little like pieces sticking out, I'm just gonna cut them. But that should be it. Looks really cute. I love this color so much. It's so cute. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you like your final result. So I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.